I'm back, and we're going to get the pie crust out of the fridge, and we're going to get rolling it out. We are going to make kind of like a more flaky pie crust, so that means we need to roll it out more than twice, maybe 4 times, depending on how flaky you like it. Okay, we've had time to soak it, to have it set up. And we will also need to get some of the flour over here. I put some parchment paper. I would recommend that because you don't want it sticking to the table. And you will also want to put some flour on the parchment paper. And now we're going to take the pie crust dough out of the bowl. And I would also recommend you put a little bit of flour on your rolling pin so it doesn't stick to your rolling pin. I'm folding the dough over, as you can tell, because I need to roll this out again. And this is the process that you do to make it more flaky. And then we're going to fold this over again. We're going to roll this out one more time. And then the next step is preparing the filling for these lunchbox pies. You should be able to get 2 lunchbox pies out of this dough. If you want more than that, you're gonna need to do more pie crust dough, which would mean more flour and more of the butter and whatever other ingredients you use to make your pie crust. This on the floor to make a mess. I just remembered, and I'm sorry I'm saying this now, I did forget to put the sugar in the dough. I would say if you wanted to add sugar, it does add another level of flavor. So you'll want to add I'd say about a tablespoon of sugar, no more, depending on how sweet you want your dough, because just remember this is a savory pie and not a sweet pie. Okay, we're going to divide this dough in half, and then I also need to get the stuff out to make these lunchbox pies. You will need 2 pieces of chicken, roughly about 4 to 5 ounces of chicken in each. I would say no more than that, because then it's just going to be too much to fit into the lunchbox pie. And you'll need at least 1 to 2 mushrooms in each side, in each lunchbox pie. And now we are going to come over here and start chopping up the mushrooms. Sorry for the mess that I had. We're going to get a clean knife, and we need to chop up a few mushrooms here. I would recommend 4 mushrooms that aren't too big, because you don't want to overpack the lunchbox pie. Sorry for all the moving around. I hope you guys will understand me for that. I'm sorry that that fell over here, but the countertop is clean. You'll want to chop these mushrooms up to a smaller size. Not so small that they spread out too much in the pie. Just small enough that you can fit it into the pie. And make sure it's not too many pieces. Now we're going to take these mushrooms over to the table here. So now we have our mushrooms and hold up, I'm sorry. I'm going to put these mushrooms in a bowl. We also need to use this cutting board for our chickens. Okay, everybody, I'm going to bring this camera back over. We're going to need the cutting board for the chickens now. I'm sorry, just give me 1 minute here. We're going to also get the spinach out of the microwave. We need to cut up these chickens also into manageable pieces to put into this pie. And if you wanted to make this pie a little bit faster, you could pre-cook the chickens on your stove top for like 6-7 minutes on a medium heat, and then cut them up and put them in your pie, and that'll be taking off an extra I want to say about 10-15 minutes. And if you do not pre-cook your chicken, you will need to cook this pie for about 40 to 45 minutes. And the temperature that you will cook this pie at, and I know I'm saying this ahead of time, is at 350 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. And don't forget, you will want to season up your chicken too before you put it into the pie crust. And this is where you can be creative with how you season up your chicken. And also be more creative to a pie that you might like. So you can season it up how you want it. It could be like a southern style lunchbox pie. It could be a Asian themed. It could be a barbecue style. It could be however you want it to be is how you make it. And this is where you get creative with it, is how you season up your chicken. And you could do a little bit of a different seasoning within your pie crust as well. And also don't forget the cream sauce. Or if you wanted to be a little bit creative too, you could put a barbecue sauce in your lunchbox pie. Now we're going to put this chicken in a bowl because I need to season this chicken up. And don't forget, you need to wash your hands every time you touch something that's like raw meat, because you don't want to cross-contaminate. And now we're going to bring the chicken over. And I'm going to move this camera now. And we need to bring the mushrooms over. Okay. I'm going to get the dirty rolling pin out of the picture here now. Okay. Where's the scissors? Okay. Okay, now we got all the ingredients that we need to put into the pie. I just need to season up the chicken. I'm using some garlic, a little bit of salt, but not much, and a little bit of pepper. And I'm going to add one more ingredient that really helps. It's an Asian seasoning or an Asian condiment, and it's called umami. And you can find it in the ethnic aisle in your grocery store. Or if you can't find it there, then go to an Asian market. You should be able to find it there if you cannot find it at your local grocery store. I can tell you right now, this is great on meat and also on vegetables. And now we need to mix this meat up a little bit so we can get the seasonings all incorporated into the meat here. Okay, now we're going to cut this pie crust in half, as this should be able to make 2 individual pies, or it could be one big crust if you wanted to make a pie out of it instead of a lunchbox pie. Okay, we need to take this out so that portion control what we need. Okay, I just had to portion out the amount of spinach I need for both. And I'd say roughly about 4 to 5 tablespoons. And divide that evenly for each pie. And yes, I'm using my hands for this because I do like to place down evenly what I need onto the pie. I mean, you could do it another way, but I don't know exactly if the other methods would be as effective. And you want to make sure you put enough chicken in here that it'll be enough to be like a meal. And if you wanted to, you could make a smaller pie and it'd be like a little snack. Which means you won't be using as much ingredients. Okay, now we're gonna do the other side. Okay. Now we want to put mushrooms in here. We want to make sure to put enough to cover evenly. But you can put however much you want to put in. This will be your pie when you're making it. Just remember, don't overflow it either, because then it'll be hard to close this lunchbox pie. And I'm adding a little bit more seasoning on top of the mushrooms. And now we want to put spinach on here. Now the next step that we want to do is we're going to make an egg wash so that when we close this thing, it'll stay closed. Sorry, I'm out of frame. I'm over here in the other side of the kitchen. Just give me a second here. I'll bring the camera over to what I'm doing. I am now going to do the egg wash, which is not so hard to do. It's just a little bit of water and egg. And that's all you need. It's not much that goes into an egg wash. Sorry about the garbage here. Sorry about all this other stuff in the frame. Now we're going to come back over. Alright, everybody. I am back now over here. This is not the best approach, but if you have like a food brush, you'll want to wash a little bit of the egg wash on the sides of this pie crust, because it'll help it to stay closed when it's baking in the oven. Okay, the next thing you need to do is move these lunchbox pies off the parchment paper. And you might want to have more flour ready. To do this, it'll be a lot easier than what I'm trying to do right now. Okay. The next step that we're going to do now, I got one of them transferred over, is the patchwork here, that because it didn't exactly turn out as I wanted it, but you will also need to make some holes in your pie to let the steam out. So that it doesn't over-rise. Okay. Okay, now the second one turned out a little bit better. We just need to egg wash the sides and make the steam holes. And then the next thing is that we need to get these in to a preheated oven of 300 and 350 degrees. And we're going to put a little butter on top so it gets a little bit golden. That's the other thing we're doing with this egg wash. We want it to be more golden. I mean, that's up to you. If you don't want it to be golden, you don't have to put the egg wash on. It'll still taste good. And the other thing you could do too to add more flavor, you could also put a garlic butter on top, and that would also make it taste good too. It won't really make it golden looking, but it will add more flavor to your pie. And now I'm going to go, and once I get back, I will be showing you what the finished lunchbox pie looks like.